Greetings and welcome to Road to Guitar Mastery, the ongoing show where I attempt to master the guitar by breaking it down into its most fundamental pieces. In the last episode, we looked at some mechanical requirements for shredding and established a possible strategy for developing these skills. Today, I would like to expand upon a key component of that strategy, as well as provide some visual cues for finding these shapes across the fretboard. As I mentioned in the previous video, we can consolidate sequences of notes into singular brain impulses when we practice at speeds higher than 150 beats per minute. Here's a quick example of what this process looks like. The goal is to establish singular impulse loops for all 20 possible arrangements of our 3-note finger combination. If you're interested, I've tabbed out these combinations on a worksheet linked in the description. Once a loop is comfortable in a stationary position, practice moving it horizontally and vertically. In addition, it's important to be able to visualize where any given pattern repeats across the fretboard. From the low E string, our starting note creates this triangle shape in 3 octaves. The second note establishes a useful rule that notes repeat themselves 2 strings up and 2 frets to the right. The caveat is when the note crosses the B string, which will shift the pattern 1 additional fret to the right. With this knowledge, we can find another repeat of our starting note here, which creates this diagonal line. We can use this line to find our repeated notes starting on the A string as well. Another useful visual aid is this additional diagonal line that crisscrosses the first. I imagine it as the distance of a hand or 4 frets plus a gap in between. From the B going to the G string, this gap disappears because of the previously stated B string rule. We can also jump from one diagonal line to another by moving 3 frets to the left and 3 strings up, like the corners of a 4-fret by 4-string box. Starting from the A or D strings, this reference point is only 2 frets away. Using these visual cues, practice moving our one pattern all over the fretboard, which will eventually become the skeleton for scale shapes. Now we can look at this pattern in context of the major and minor scale. The major and minor scale follow the same pattern of whole steps, or 2 frets, and half steps, 1 fret, only starting from different spots in the sequence. Notice that our finger pattern from earlier appears twice in the scale degrees 6, 7, 1, and 2, 3, 4 in major, or 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 in minor. When we stretch the scale pattern to multiple strings, our 2 finger combinations rest one on top of the other. This shape, major or minor, is the starting point of the Aeolian mode or natural minor scale. We can now add the second layer on top of our repeated patterns from earlier. Minus 1 scale degree, we have just constructed the entire major-minor scale shape across the fretboard using a single finger combination. In future episodes, we will look at the scale through 2 additional lenses that will complete the entire pattern, so stay tuned for that. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, let me hear them down below. I appreciate your viewership, and I will be back with another episode very soon. Take care, everyone.